Out of the gates and ready to go. Welcome into this live edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us. It is our NFL trade deadline show. We are less than 90 minutes away from the trade deadline officially commencing. The Seahawks have not made any moves today, but if they do, then you will get to see our live reaction in real time here on today's show. And we're going to have a great time over this next hour and a half. I'll be honest, we don't have much scripted here. This is going to be very free-flowing. We just want to interact with the 12s, get your thoughts on the trades that have happened so far and any potential moves you'd like to see for the Seattle Seahawks. We're just going to, as they say, shoot the shit and just have a good time today. We're going to entertain ourselves. I know a lot of you are still at the office, still working. Very busy day. Decisions are being made all across the country today as we have trade deadline day. Of course, that's the big decisions on everybody's minds. We will break down everything you need to know here on this trade deadline special. And then once things wrap up, when the trade deadline officially commences, we'll do a mailbag. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. As you guys file in, shout out your city, and we'll shout you out as we get this show off and rolling here on this Tuesday afternoon with just about 90 minutes to go till the trade deadline hits. To the left of me, there it is all the trades that have gone on so far, and we'll continue just to cycle through those. You'll stay updated of what's gone on throughout this afternoon. Got a little loop going. Big Tech's making that happen. As you guys get in here, shout out your city. We'll shout you out. We are checking in from the Chat Sports Studios here in downtown Dallas, Texas on this Tuesday afternoon. I'm here. Big Tex is here with me as well. We'll bring in Big Tex coming up in just a bit. He's finishing up his lunch, so give him a second. He's got some tacos today. Election day, I had to go with pizza. That's an election day tradition. As an old news guy myself, you had to eat pizza on Election Day. And so I had some pizza, but I already finished my lunch. Where are you guys at? I got Seth in Laverne, California. I got back in Seattle, Gavin in Tyler, Texas. Board Skyler in Kelso, Washington. Chad says, looking good, Tyler. Thank you. Much appreciated. Anthony's in Phoenix. I got John in Centralia, Washington. Robert in Atlanta. Larry in Marysville. I got Chad in Gresham, Oregon, Chris in Tacoma, Willie in Fresno, Greg in Texas, Arsenal Apex in Greensboro, North Carolina. Arsenal, where the hell you been, man? I haven't seen you in weeks. Where you been? I see you tweeting me, but you're not here in the live show every time. You need to be here every time, Arsenal Apex. That's the expectation. Justin in Idaho Falls, Idaho is here. Crazy Florida guy in Florida says, go Hawks. Got John in Iowa, got Dre in South Carolina, Seth in Laverne, California, Willie in Fresno, Brandon in Spokane, Dark Diamond in Simi Valley, California. Got Chris in Tacoma, C-Fan for Life in Albany. I got Willie in Fresno, Mari in West Palm Beach, John in Iowa, Dustin in Prosser, Washington, Fixley in Seattle. I got Johan in Washington, James checking in from the 509, Robert in Bend, Ray in Newark, New Jersey. Where else we got here? Bobby in Mexico, in Monterey. Got Tyrone in Toppernish, Washington. Russell in Oliver, British Columbia, Canada. Stephanie in Fort Wayne. Sisney in Cameron Park. Tony, there is no endorsements here. I kept it very neutral. Blue suit, red tie, white shirt, an American flag pin. Red, white, and blue. We are just playing it down the middle. I'm not endorsing anybody. We're not doing that here. We're just saluting America here. We're just being patriotic. Shout out your favorite Seahawks player. Who is it? Who's your favorite Seahawks player? Way in the chat right now. Let us know who that is. Let's see. Justin says, looking sharp. Thank you. Much appreciated. Brandon says, let's go America. Poochie says, let's go Hawks, Bay Area, California. Willie checking in from Fresno. Matthew with the first Super Chat of the day. I haven't even got to the Super Chat menu yet. Already getting Super Chats. We'd love to see it. Who is your favorite Seahawks player? Who is it? Mo says Devin Witherspoon. SI says K9. LJ says Bam Bam. Bobby says JSN. APE says Marshawn Lynch. Heyman says DK. Way says Kenneth Walker III. So some of your answers there. Tex, let's go ahead and knock out game time real quick. Yeah. Let's go ahead and knock out game time, and then we'll go forward with everything else from here. We'll tell you about today's sponsor, and then we'll go forward with the rest of today's show. We'll catch up on Super Chats, go over the Super Chat menu, all that good stuff here in just a bit. But first, today's show is sponsored by our friends at Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time has got you covered. Looking for tickets to the next Seahawks game? They got those too. You download the Game Time app, create an account, and if you use the promo code ChatSports, we will give you $20 off your first purchase when you use the promo code ChatSports at checkout. Yes, you heard that right. Check out Game Time today, and they got some great things that they offer. They have their super deals. If you see a super deal, that's a deal you don't want to pass up on. They have their seat views. You can get the visual, see what your seat is like, and you can use Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Promo code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. That's promo code ChatSports, $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. What time is it? Game time. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. All right. Let's spam S in the chat. Where are my 12s at right now? I'm going to shout them out. Tex is finishing up some stuff. So I'm going to shout out all the S's in the chat. I know it's a Tuesday. I know that we got some very important stuff going on in the world today. But we're still here talking Seahawks football. A lot of you haven't even had your lunch break yet. I need you to spam S in the chat. Who's going to be the early favorite to be MVP on today's show? Get the S's going, and I'll shout out all the S's. Let's see how many S's we can get. Break a chat rate record. I got John, Andrew, Arsenal Apex, C-Fan for Life, Chris, LJ, Heyman, John, C-Fan for Life, Chris, Willie, Heyman, Carmen, Chris, John, Willie, Seth, Arsenal Apex, Crazy Florida Guy, Matthew, Willie, LJ, Heyman, C-Fan for Life, LJ, Dustin, Heyman, Matthew, Pookie, Chris, LJ, Dustin, John, Willie. Keep going. About another 30 seconds to go. Rodeo Clown, Aden, Willie, Dark Diamond, Dustin, Heyman, C-Fan for Life, Justin, Dark Diamond, Colton, Rodeo, Heyman, Miguel, C-Fan for Life, Willie, Antone, Matthew, C-Fan for Life. Very good. Very good stuff, everybody. Nice job there breaking the chat. I saw C-Fan for Life a lot in there. Who else did I see a lot in there? I saw John in there quite a bit. Dark Diamond was in there quite a bit. So good work, everybody, on getting those S's in the chat. Trades that have gone on so far, we got Marshawn Lattimore headed to the Commanders in exchange for a 3rd and 4th round pick. The Saints, obviously, they fired Dennis Allen earlier this week, so they are certainly trying to tear things down there. Mike Williams is now headed to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a 2025 5th-round pick. That trade just going down within the last hour from right now. Some other trades. We'll continue to cycle through these so you guys can see what we're talking about. Preston Smith also headed to the Pittsburgh Steelers from the Green Bay Packers. So the Steelers very active today, getting help at wide receiver and at the edge rusher position as well. Devontae Adams, of course, was the first one to really get this thing started a few weeks ago for that conditional 2025 3rd-round pick. Zadarius Smith traded this morning. We'll get to Matthew here in just 1 second. Zadarius Smith traded this morning. Khalil Herbert headed to the Bengals from the Chicago Bears. Jonathan Mingo, the Cowboys actually did something. Traded for a receiver. Jonathan Mingo from the Carolina Panthers headed there. And those are your trades so far to this point. Let's begin with this $5 super chat from Matthew. Matthew writes in, we need Brandon Sharif. What would what would you be willing to give up? Me personally, I'd be willing to do a 3 this year and a 4 and a 5 next year. That's a lot. That's giving up a ton. I don't know if I'd give up that much to bring him in, but I don't think it's a terrible idea. I don't think it's a terrible idea at all, Matthew. I think there's just a lot of draft capital potentially be given up there. I think you could probably get him cheaper than that. But, Matthew, thanks for sending that $5 Super Chat, our first Super Chat of the day, making that happen. Let's get to the Super Chat menu, show you what we have in store today. Like we said earlier, there's no script today. We're just going to hang out and have some fun with you guys, answer whatever questions you got. Super Chat menu, first-time Super Chatter, you get the Seahawks chant. $5 Super Chat, we'll sing the old McDonald's song. $10 Super Chat, we'll take some shots. $20 Super Chat to a beer bong. $50 Super Chat gets sauce with the Seahawks sauce. And if we get to 300 today, then we will do a boot, which would be quite the sight. Me trying to do a boot in a suit, folks, with a tie and all. I am usually not a tie guy. In my adult life, I can probably count the number of times I have worn a tie on my fingers. I hate wearing ties. But I thought it was only fitting for today to wear a tie, go with the blue suit, the white shirt, the red tie, and the American flag pin. I did it for the 12s, did it for the people. I'm a man of the people, right? That's why you guys love me. That's why all the Jonesers are here, because you guys know that we do this show for the people. So, if you want to get involved in today's show, you got a question for us, or anything you want to interact with us, send us a Super Chat. We'll throw you on screen. We'll react to it, and we'll have some fun today here on a trade deadline day, as we got about an hour and 13 minutes till the trade deadline officially hits. Let's ask this question for you, folks. Who's a player the Seahawks should trade for? I don't think the Seahawks are going to make a trade before this deadline. There's still time, though. They could surprise us. They could work something up. Who is somebody that you'd like to see the Seahawks potentially trade for? Let us know in the chat right now. Let's see. I'm seeing no Diddy's in the chat. Yeah. We don't want Diddy. We don't want Diddy in Seattle. I can tell you that much. Who else? What did you say? Yes. 3 o'clock our time. So 1 o'clock Pacific. So about an hour 12 minutes away. 3 o'clock is the deadline. Yes. 3 o'clock Central Time, 1 o'clock Pacific is that deadline. We'll get a little countdown clock going here in just a bit. Who's the player the Seahawks should trade for? Give me a name in the chat. I'm not saying any names. I asked a simple question. Who do you guys want? Prod says absolutely not. Winfield is not coming here. Okay, that doesn't answer my question. I said, who do you want? Name a player. Give me names. I want names. Deep Fried Uranium says a good quarterback. Who? Give me a name. Danny says Deontay Johnson. He's already been traded. That's not going to happen. John says Penix. Oh, man. Michael Penix would have been a lot of fun. Unfortunately, that bridge has already passed us. Dre Wiley says a quarterback. Rodeo Clown says Penix. Miguel says somebody who can stop the run. There we go. There's the clock. Let's see. AKAS says Anthony Richardson if he's available. That wouldn't be bad. Way Schmitty says Bryce Huff. Manny's Fours says Quentin Nelson. Mike says Max Crosby. The Don says Sauce Gardner. LJ says Patrick Mahomes. I wish. Let's see. Lila9 says Jalen Ramsey. Jonathan says Max Crosby. CFan for Life says his coworker says Hunter Henry. Carmen says bring back Russell Wilson. Hell no. No, thank you. Calvin says Humphrey from the Ravens. Marlon Humphrey. I don't think so. Let's see. Poochie says Russell Wilson. Let's see. What else we have here? DPZ says, I know Patriots have nice offensive linemen. Why not throw Jonathan Jones if he can replace D. Williams? Raw Hector says Clowney. Julius says Bryce Young. Willie says Max. Deep Fried Uranium says Trevor Lawrence. Bam Bam says Miles Garrett. All right, so we got some interesting answers. of who you guys think the Seahawks should potentially trade for, as we're about an hour 10 away from the trade deadline officially getting here. What? We still need to go over Super Chat menu. We'll go over the Super Chat menu, then we'll catch up on Super Chats, then I'll break down some team needs for this Seahawks team as we get close to this deadline. About 1 hour and 9 minutes to go. There's the Super Chat menu if you want to take part in the program. $ sign next to the chat box. You want some screen time, you want your questions answered, you can do so by sending us a Super Chat. First time Super Chatters get the Seahawks chant. $5 Super Chat will do the old McDonald's song. $10 Super Chat will do some shots. $20 Super Chat do a beer bong. $50 Super Chat will do the Seahawks sauce. Speaking of which, that $5 Super Chat that came in earlier at the beginning of the show, I do owe the old McDonald's song for. So for that $5 that came in to start the show, here's the old McDonald's song for you. Old MacDonald had a farm, C-I-E-I Hawks. There you go. All right. Let's catch up on these supers. Chris and Matthew each with some Super Chats. Let's start with Chris. Chris says, I think we should trade for Anton Winfield. Winfield, not a bad player. Not a bad player, but I don't like that contract. That'd be very expensive, and the Seahawks only have about $9 million in cap space at the moment. So, yeah, it's an interesting idea, but I think it might be a little too pricey. Might be out of the Seahawks price range. But Chris, thanks for that $2 Super Chat. What else we got? Another Super Chat rolling in from Matthew. He says, what should we do with Trey Brown? Well, Matthew, it's a very good question. I think he was considered a trade candidate for Seattle going into today. We already heard Mike McDonald say that Josh Jobe is competing with him for that starting role, that he likes Josh Jobe and thinks that Josh Jobe has done enough to be considered for that starting position. So if somebody is willing to give you something for Trey Brown, then you might consider trading him. Depends on what the offer is, really. That's what it comes down to. Just kind of depends on what it is. So we'll see. I'm open to the idea of trading Trey Brown. I would look at, for potential trade candidates, if the Seahawks were to sell today, Trey Brown would be a name that come to mind. Draymond Jones would be another name that comes to mind. Jonathan Hankins would also be a name that I would look to potentially move on from as far as players go of who they could potentially move on from today. We shall see. Let's talk team needs now for the Seahawks with the trade deadline approaching, just about an hour away. The right tackle position, obviously a big team need for Seattle. As we await the return of Abraham Lucas, he's getting close, but no sign of him coming back just yet. George Fant had a limited role this past week. He should be getting healthier in the coming weeks ahead. So the right tackle position, it might fix itself. It might not. If you can find another option out there, it might be worth making a trade for. The guard position, a big need for Seattle as well. As we've seen, Laken Tomlinson has not played well, and Anthony Bradford and Christian Haynes have not been up to snuff either. It has been a nightmare, that guard position for Seattle so far this season at this point. Nose tackle, I think that Jonathan Hankins has been absolutely horrendous. He's been horrible. And you look at the Seahawks defensive line with Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams and Jaron Reed. You got some decent pieces there, but you need some reinforcements. I think you could potentially upgrade from Jonathan Hankins and do better than him as far as that goes. Safety position, also a need since Rayshawn Jenkins went down. Kobe Bryant took that spot, but now you're a bit short-handed at that safety position with not having Rayshawn Jenkins there, and you don't have really a legit piece to back up Kobe Bryant right now at that safety position, so that could be a possibility. Then the corner spot, with the Seahawks basically giving up on Trey Brown at this point, and then with the questions surrounding that position, I think you could potentially upgrade that corner position and see if you can do better than what you got right now. Those are the big team needs I'm looking at for Seattle at this point in time as far as that goes. We are now just over an hour away from the trade deadline getting here. Let's see. I think we had another super chat come in. Seth with a $2 super chat. We'll go to Seth next. Let's see what Seth's saying here. He's asking about Abe Lucas. Is there any news on Abe playing after the bye? Not any official news, but there is hope. That's all we can do is hope at this point. There is hope that he will be back after the bye week, but that remains to be seen. No official word on that yet, but there is a hope. There is a belief he could be back by the bye week, which would be huge for the Seahawks if they can get him back before the bye week there. Texer, you all ready? You all ready to join us now? Okay. Yes. Yeah, of course. Big Tex is here with me today. If you guys get questions for me or Tex, either one, we'd be glad to just chime in, weigh in, have some fun today. Whatever you guys got, feel free to send it our way as we hang out with you as we count down towards the trade deadline. And how you can get on today's show is by sending a super chat. There's the super chat menu. If you got a question, like I see a lot of questions coming in, folks, I can't answer every single one of them. The only way I can guarantee that I see your question, because there's so many of them, is by sending a super chat. So if you can't send a super chat, there's no guarantee I'm going to see your question in the chat. That's for the mailbag. Yeah. So if you guys got something on your mind, something you want to weigh in about, then send a super chat. That's the only way we can guarantee that I'm able to see your question and get on the show, because there's so many questions that roll in, I can't see all of them. So there you have it. So that's where we're at. About an hour away from the trade deadline, as Big Tex is about to join me here in just a moment. And let's see if we get any moves here as we count down. We're just about an hour away now from the trade deadline officially approaching. The most recent trade, the Packers traded with the Steelers for Preston Smith, and the Packers are getting a 7th-round pick for Preston Smith in that trade that just went down just about 30 minutes ago. That was the last trade that's happened. We'll see if we get any more trades coming in as we're about an hour away. There's Big Tex. Big Tex, trade deadline day, very busy day for a number of reasons. I mean, we got the college football playoff rankings tonight. You know, I mean, trade deadline day and all. What's been kind of your takeaways? What do you think of what we've seen so far from trade deadline day?
Well, Seattle's been quiet, obviously. I think
your Cowboys got some help.
Yeah,
Jerry did something.
I was gonna say I like what the Cowboys did. I don't hate the move. That's really all I could think. Like all that comes to mind, honestly. What about you?
The Steelers being aggressive.
Yeah, that's true. And the Commanders.
Steelers and Commanders both. Those are teams that are looking to take that next step. Mm-hmm. I think the Steelers have a real shot to compete in the AFC. After the Kansas City Chiefs, I think the AFC is pretty wide open, and that they see that opportunity knocking, that the Steelers are trying to take advantage and compete there in the AFC. So the Steelers certainly made some noise. I liked what the Steelers did. I will say, though, for as much talk as there's been about the Pittsburgh Steelers trying to trade for receiver, and I know there was rumblings about them wanting DK and all that for a long time, and Brandon Ayuk and others. At the end of the day, after that whole charade, feels like 6 months of the Pittsburgh Steelers trying to get a receiver. They settled for Mike Williams, giving up a 5th-round pick. I know that they got the receiver help, but it wasn't necessarily what they were looking for. They were hoping for that big name, and then you just settle with Mike Williams. I mean, it's like, really? That's what you ended up with? I mean,
true.
So it's better than nothing. But
right.
if I was a Steeler fan today, I'd be a little disappointed. I'd be a little disappointed if I was a Steeler fan. If that's all you ended up with was, after all that, you got Mike Williams for a 2025 5th-round pick. I would be pretty disappointed if I was a Steeler fan today. We got another first-time Super Chatter coming in.
Gotcha.
Our first-time Super Chatter of the day.
No. Oh, no, sorry.
What?
Oh no, sorry. This is on auto for some reason. Give me 1 second.
Oh, text is all over the place today.
I am. Well, I was trying to rotate the trade graphics.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's pushing the weigh-ins too.
You don't have to worry about spamming S, folks. We're going to go to the super chat.
Yeah,
we're going to go to the super chat here in just a second.
Yeah, sorry. Give me 1 sec.
Let's see here. And the clock is now down to 4 digits. We're getting close. We're getting close. Here we go. First time super chatter.
Oh, yep. Let me get the sticker. Bear with me.
Lil RG16. We'll read the message, then we'll give him the Seahawks chant. Little RG says, I like Anthony Richardson from the Colts. Do you think maybe they traded for him this offseason or any quarterback in mind for Geno replacements? So personally, Little RG, thanks for sending in that super chat, and we'll get you the chant here in just a moment. No, I don't like Anthony Richardson. I don't like quarterbacks text that have a 45% completion percentage.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
He's just not accurate, and he can't stay healthy.
He sucks.
He's not that guy. And I know John Schneider liked him in the pre-draft process a couple years ago, and had the Seahawks been in a position where C.J. Stroud or Anthony Richardson would have been available at 5, they would have taken either one of those guys. I don't like the idea of trading for Anthony Richardson. I think he's going to cost too much, too, for what he's really worth. I think the Colts are probably going to be looking for a second or third round pick, and I'm not looking to take on a project quarterback with hopes of replacing Geno Smith for a guy that struggled that much. He can't stay healthy. I'm not interested in Anthony Richardson.
I got a surprise for you, bro.
Yeah, 1 minute on that.
I got you.
1 minute. Let's get to this super chest, then we can go to there.
I got you.
With that said, yeah, I'm not interested in trading for Anthony Richardson. I want to get a young quarterback. I want to draft somebody and take advantage of a rookie contract. I know the quarterback class isn't great this year. I really like Cam Ward, but I got question marks pretty much about everybody else. Shedeur Sanders would be nice, but his comp is Geno Smith, so that might not be what we're looking for necessarily. Quinn Ewers is interesting. I've seen some good from Quinn Ewers, but I've seen some bad too, and he struggles to stay healthy too, so that's a problem. But, yeah, I want a young quarterback. That's what I'm thinking. I want to draft a quarterback. I know that John doesn't like to draft quarterbacks, but that's what I would hope for. I would hope to draft a quarterback and bring Geno back for one more year, play out his contract, let this rookie quarterback sit behind Geno and learn the NFL way, and then go from there. That's what I would do. The Seahawks chant for little RG. Tex, get us fired up. Get us started. Seahawks! 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 Let's go, little RG. Little RG, welcome to the big show. Thanks for sending in that first time super chat. Love it. And we owe you the old McDonald song as well. Old McDonald had a farm. Seahawks. There you go. Little RG, thanks for that super chat there. Next super chat rolling in. Got a couple more, I believe, we got to catch up on. Arsenal Apex. Arsenal Apex has been in the chat on this show for how long? Like 2 years. And he's just now sending a super chat for the very first time. It took him this long. Arsenal Apex. Better late than never. Arsenal Apex. A first time super chatter for Arsenal Apex. Seahawks! 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 Let's go Arsenal Apex. Let's go Arsenal. Everybody spam Arsenal in the chat. First time super chatter. He says, and John and Mike we trust. I'd gladly take an offensive lineman for pennies or a bag of chips. Arsenal Apex, I am 100% with you. I would love to get any of the offensive line help we possibly can get at this point in time. But I would say this, Arsenal Apex. Here's the unfortunate thing. When it comes to the trade deadline, as we're getting to the end of this, less than an hour to go, it is very hard to trade for offensive linemen. Teams are not typically willing to give up offensive linemen ahead of the trade deadline. There's usually not a ton of options there. So I would like some offensive line help, but I'm not getting my hopes up that we're getting that offensive line help we're looking for. I'll take a shot for you, Arsenal Apex. First shot of the day. And I got to try to keep this clean. Can't get this on the suit, this first shot of the day. We're going Tito's today. Cheers, everybody. Oh, there we go. There we go. First shot of the day in the books. We love to see it. Chris, with a $2 super chat, writes in, is it too early to say we should tank for a quarterback? Yes, it is. Yes, it is too early to tank for a quarterback. In fact, you've already made your bed. You got to sleep in it at this point. There's no going back. You have to stick with the plan. You've already made some moves, most notably for Ernest Jones IV. You cannot go backwards now. You have to commit to what you've done at this point. And not to mention, too, there are so many bad teams in the NFL this year that you are not going to get that return on investment. You are not going to get a great pick if you decide to tank now and throw away the season. You got to still try to contend to be a playoff team and try to go from there. The season is not over. I know they've lost 2 straight, but it is way too late to throw in the towel now. You cannot sell. You cannot tank. That just isn't going to happen. But Chris, thanks for the $2 super chat. Dan the Man Miller with a $5 super chat. Dan the Man, good to see you. We missed you on Sunday, my guy. Good to see you. He says, honestly, is the Hawks season a loss with the horrible way they are playing, and can they change it around? No, the season's not a loss. And, Tex, I believe we have the division standings. We can pull that up here in just a second. No, it's not a loss because everybody else around you isn't good. The Niners suck. The Cardinals aren't very good. The Rams aren't that good. You're still in the right in the thick of a divisional race. Here's the standings, folks. Look at that. Look at that. I know we're in last place, but this season is far from over. You cannot give up. You can never give up. You can never give up. We are not backing down. We are not backing down by any stretch of the imagination. Now is not the time to be giving up by any stretch of the imagination. So, no, Dan the Man Miller, it's a fair question, but no, we're not throwing in the towel. We still got a long ways to go. We still got half a season left, so we can't do that. Manny's 4, no. How do you think we make money, you dumbass? Like, yeah, we have to have ads. We have to make money. We're giving you free coverage. You can sit through the ad. Deal with it. Dan the Man, I'll give you the DK song. I'll change it up. We've done the Mike McDonald song a couple times. So we'll do the DK song for you, Dan. Chopping, Mike Max chopping, Geno passes, no one stopping, DK. Touchdowns all day. He rules. Michael with a $5 super chat. Somebody was asking me, why are you wearing a suit today? It's trade deadline day. I had to dress for the occasion. It's trade deadline day. I had to bring my best. This is one of the busiest days of the year in the NFL. I had to dress accordingly. I had to bring my best. That's why. It's trade deadline day. Michael with a $5 super chat says, bring Geno back, play out his contract, let this rookie sit behind Geno and learn the NFL way and go from there. Cough, cough, Sam Howell. Hey, Michael, you've been listening. You've been listening. That's exactly what I've been saying for quite some time, is to do it that way. I don't think Sam Howell's the answer you're looking for. I'm not opposed to bringing Sam Howell back next year, but he's not a franchise quarterback. We already know that answer. But yes, Michael, yes, that is the way to do it. If you find a quarterback you like, draft him, let him sit behind Geno, then go from there. So simple as that. All right, here's Super Chat menu. We are, I do owe, let's see. Michael, I'll give you the DK song too. Chopping, Mike Max chopping, Geno passes, no one stopping, DK. Touchdowns all day. He rules. All right, there's Super Chat menu. If you want to interact with us and have some screen time on today's show, send us a Super Chat. $sign next to the chat box. We're at $40 right now. We got to get to $300 if we want to do a boot. I can tell you this right now, folks. Me doing a boot in a suit would be a wild sight. I can tell you that right now. You will not be disappointed if I'm doing a boot in a suit. If we get to $300, then a boot is happening. We're at $40 right now. Clock is down to about 49 minutes, so there's still a lot of time. But if you want to see a boot, then we got to get to $400 to make that happen. So we'll see. NSG Boog with a $2 super chat says, trade Trey Brown and a pick for D-line or a new corner. I don't hate that idea. I think it's very obvious that Trey Brown is on the outside now, that the Seahawks are not a fan of Trey Brown. The coaching staff has kind of lost faith in Trey Brown at this point. So, yeah, if you can get a D lineman or a new corner, upgrade those positions, I don't think that's a bad idea. I think you might be onto something. Boog, thanks for that super chat, and appreciate you joining us. We're at 59 likes right now. Trade deadline still about 48 minutes away. I need you guys to like it up. I'll crack open a can of Cold Miller when we get to 100 likes. But I need you guys to like the video. Hit that like button. Husky, I was not wrong about Geno. I was 100% spot on about Geno. I said Geno was a stopgap quarterback and that we were thankful for him for replacing Russell Wilson, but that he was not the long-term solution. So, Husky, you're wrong. I am right. Deal with it. That's how it's going to be. This is not a democracy on this show. I am right. I was right the entire time about Geno Smith. And I've been proven right time and time again. He was fine to fill in the gap, but he is not the long-term answer. I've said that from the very beginning there. I've been very adamant about that. Like it up, guys. Let's see the Miller here. Here we go. Cold can of Miller. I know it's still early. It's like 3 o'clock on the East Coast. It's just past noon on the West Coast. But that does not mean that we can't have some cold beer today. I'm sure there's some events going on around this country today that will make you want to drink. And so why not go ahead and get started early with the drinking? Let's get to 100 likes. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So Tex is giving me a Zen. We'll pop some Zens here in a moment, Tex. We'll show the people what we got today. If you love the Seahawks, like the video. Was the $7 enough I gave you? Was the cash I gave you enough for this? Sweet. Yeah. Jeff with the super chat. We'll get to Jeff here in just a bit. Let's get to 100 likes. Perfect. We'll get to that here in a bit. Let's get to 100 likes first. Like it up. We'll crack open a beer when we get to 100 likes. Let's see. Taste Bud's got the right idea. Almost happy hour anyway. Exactly. Almost happy hour anyway. Today, I'm not getting political. I'm not allowed to talk politics, actually. But I can tell you, this is a day that we probably all want to drink one way or the other. Doesn't matter what side of the political aisle we're on. I think we can all be united on drinking a cold beer. I will crack open this beer and take a big chug in the suit and all when we get to 100 likes. Like it up. We're at 88 right now. I got 300 people watching. I'm not even asking for half the audience to like the video. I just need a third of you to like the video. That's all I'm asking for. 9 more likes. Like it up. Like it up. If you're glad to be hanging out here with us on a Tuesday, on Election Day, talking Seahawks football, like the video. Simple as that. Like it up. 8 more. 8 more. Can we get there? Can we get to 100? I'm not doing anything else till we get to 100 likes. 100 likes, and then we'll go forward and keep on keeping on here on today's show. 2 more likes away from 100. 2 more. There we go. There's 100 likes, and we'll crack open this beer. Folks, to the 12s, to the Seattle Seahawks, to all of my fellow Jonesers out there, to the great United States, the greatest country on earth, no matter what happens tonight, America is still strong. We're still standing, and I'm grateful to be hanging out with you guys. Crack one open. There we go. There's the foam and all. Cheers. Go Hawks. USA. 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 Woo! There we go. America. Land of the free, home of the brave. Jeff Duncan with a $5 super chat. He's a first-time super chatter. Jeff, welcome to the big show. Thanks for sending that $5 super chat. Let's get the chant going for Jeff Duncan. Tex.
See.
Hawks.
See.
Hawks.
See.
Hawks. Spam Jeff. Spam Jeff. Welcome, Jeff. Welcome. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Jeff, if you send in another super chat, you can add a message, and we can throw it on screen for whatever you got. You can put that within your super chat. We also owe you the old McDonald song. I'll sing it for you. Old McDonald had a farm, C-I-E-I Hawks. Show Jeff some love. Spam Jeff in the comments section for being a first-time super chatter. Glad to have you here, Jeff. Another first-time super chatter. Those are always good to see. Seth with a $5 super chat. Rolling in. Seth says, could we get some decent picks for Draymond if we take on most of his contract, or would this put us in a hole salary cap-wise? A lot of teams need D linemen. I think you could, but at that point, would it be worth it? That's the question. Like, if you take on part of his contract, then in theory, you might as well keep him. So that's a tough predicament. It's a very good question, Seth. But I think that's a tough dilemma that the Seahawks have to figure out if they're going to take on his contract and then him not play for them. It's not a great idea. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. It's a tough predicament, Jeff. Or Seth. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. Seth, I'll give you the DK song. We'll change it up a bit. Choppin', Mike Max choppin', Gino passes, no one stopping, DK. Touchdowns all day. He rules. Thank you, Seth, for that $5 super chat. We are now 43 minutes away from the NFL trade deadline. Will the Seahawks make a move? It's our poll question right now. 465 votes in, 53% of you saying yes, 47% saying no. I'm leaning towards the no variety. We're down to the 11th hour, literally. And there has been no sign of the Seahawks potentially making a trade at this point. So I would like to see a trade. I got plenty of ideas, but I'm not getting my hopes up that we're going to see a trade just yet. We'll see, though. There's still plenty of time. 42 minutes before the trade deadline officially hits. Last chance for John Schneider and Mike McDonald to potentially make a move. Let us know in the chat right now. Will the Seahawks make a trade? Y for yes, N for no. It's our poll question. Weigh in. Let us know what you think. Will the Seahawks make a trade or not? MF Gary, I said Seahawks. What are you talking about? I said Seahawks. Y for yes, N for no. Will the Seahawks make a trade or not? It's our poll question right now. 52% of you saying yes, 48% saying no. Bam Bam is saying no. Doom with a super chat. We'll go to Doom's super chat, and then Tex and I will zen for a moment. We'll show you what zens we're working with today. Let's see. Boskin says, I bag from Diddy's is all Draymond Jones is worth in trade. Yikes. Ugh. That's not great. Doom says, I know it won't happen, but it'd be nice if Seattle could trade for Joel Bonito from the Browns. He'd be a solid piece of guard. Not a bad idea. You guys have plenty of ideas, but the execution from the Seahawks apparently is not happening at this point. Maybe you guys should replace John and BGM. You got plenty of good ideas that I've seen today, but have yet to see anything happen just yet. So, Doom, we'll give you the old McDonald song. Old McDonald had a farm. C-I-E-I Hawks. There we go. We're at $55 now. Got to get to $300 to get to Das Boot. Still some work to do. Still plenty of time, but we got work to do to get to that point. Let's show them what we're zenning today. As I get rid of the one that I have here. Yeah, Kate, put the super chat menu up. All right. Yeah, go to live sub counter. Sum it up, folks. I got about 300 people watching right now. We just passed 59,000 subscribers over the weekend. Now we're trying to get to 60,000. Need your help to get there. Live trade coverage. Who else is bringing you live coverage at the trade deadline talking Seahawks? Nobody is but us here on Seahawks Today. We'll be live again tomorrow for our weekly live show. We're live every game day here on the channel. This is your one-stop shop for all things Seattle Seahawks. If you love the Seahawks, this is the channel for you. Sub it up, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. Spin the wheel of subs. Make this number keep on going up. Keep on going up. And when you sub, you can interact with us in the chat. We'll answer your questions and comments, concerns, whatever you guys got. Sub it up and get in the chat and interact with us here on today's program. All right. So, as Tex joins me now, he has handed me a can of Velo. You guys know we are a very pro nicotine show here on Seahawks Today. We do love our nicotine pouches. And I gave Tex about $7 in cold hard cash. And I said, and Tex said, yeah, I'll get you a pouch. I didn't know what he was going to bring me back. It was going to be a total surprise. And I ended up with Velo's Winter Green was the choice. Good choice on your part, Tex. You did not let me down. You never let me down to begin with, but you did not let me down. Good choice. What did you go with for yourself? Same thing. Put yourself on screen. We can show the people here. I think these are generally a safe bet, a safe call going to Velo's Winter Green. Yeah. I think that, like, is it my favorite? No, but it's definitely not the worst. Right. It gets the job done. True. I would say it's like the Pepsi of nicotine pouches. True. Like, I'd rather have Dr. Pepper or, I'd rather have Dr. Pepper before I would have Pepsi. Yeah. But Pepsi's still good.
True.
Like Velo's, I think my favorite nicotine pouch right now is still the regular Zens.
Yep.
They're my Dr. Pepper, but Velo's are very up there. And the 7, this is a nice kick.
Let me fix that. Sorry.
Oh
no. Sorry.
This is a nice kick. What would be your evaluation of Velo's, Tex?
Yeah, I'd say they're like.
Did you already pop yours, or do we?
I did.
Okay,
yes.
salute. Cheers.
My bad, brother.
There we go.
I was hurting.
Tex was getting ahead of himself. What's your evaluation of Velo's, Tex?
Yeah, I would say that a good description would be they're like a close second to Dr. Pepper in terms of like a. Let me turn me up a little bit. Hold up.
Let them cook.
Let them cook. Yeah, I'd say Velos are like a close second. They're definitely.
Is it Velo or Velo?
I like Velo better. Velo sounds cooler.
Velo sounds like
a space term.
Like a space term.
Yeah, like a sci-fi term. Like insert your Velo. Yeah, but I would definitely say they're like astronomically better than Rogues. Not to.
Rogues are the worst.
Yeah, it's like it's a mint pillow with no real nicotine in it. It just doesn't.
What would be your power ranking, Tex, of nicotine pouches? In the chat, let me know. What's your favorite nicotine pouches?
Good question.
I think that's a very good question for the chat. We're a very pro nicotine pouch show around here.
Yes.
If you had to power rank, chat, what is your favorite nicotine pouches? Tex, I'll let you answer first. Give me your top 5, your power rankings.
Okay. Because it's actually shifted a little bit. Because zones used to be higher for me, but now they feel like they just burn a hole inside my mouth when I'm using them. So I'm like, fuck that. I'd say 1 Zen, same with me, just the consistency. It's kind of like Dr. Pepper. It's like best taste, most notable brand, most consistent drink out there. Everybody knows it in the South. It's a staple soft drink like Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
And so like same thing with Zen is number 1. And then number 2 used to be Zone probably, and now it's definitely the Velos at number 2 for me. And then I would say like Ons are a distant third. There's a pretty big gap between 1 and 2. Yeah, there's a gap between 1 and 2, and then there's like an even further gap between 2 and 3. And that's where you'd find On. And then Rogue can't even like put itself on the same map or discussion.
So the Don says he's never had one. I would suggest to the Don, don't start with a high amount. Like, start with a low number. Start with a 3 and work your way up.
Yes, you can easily give yourself nicotine poisoning if you're not careful. And I promise
Tex might know a thing or two.
Maybe. That's neither here nor there, though.
That's a little secret.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, I did get nicotine poisoning in college like twice because I used to hit a lot of vapes. And, dude, that shit is just terrible. So please be careful. We're not advocating that everyone needs the Zen. But if you do, Tyler gives good advice. You start with the 3 milligram, the 2 milligram, the low, and work your way up. Don't go big right away and then go down. It doesn't work that way. Stair steps, baby steps up. Baby steps up, and you'll get there.
Work your way up, and
Trust me.
And then you'll get to like the 15 FREs.
Yeah.
And you'll be feeling great.
You do a 15, it'll be like burning a hole through your mouth, and you won't even notice it because you're so relaxed. And
MF Gary likes the Grizzly Wintergreens.
I
Board Skyler goes with the 40 MG Wintergreens from Russia. Where, Board Skyler?
That's got to be a joke.
Send me your link. Where do I find these?
Putin is just popping those in his mouth.
Where do I find these? I need to try these 40s from Russia.
No, dude, I don't know if you do, bro. I wouldn't trust anything coming out of Russia, to be honest with you.
Dan, we'll get to your super chat. Let's get to your super. We can talk about nicotine here in a moment. He said, "Hey, I sent a super chat. That's more important than nicotine." Sorry, we got a little carried away.
True.
We love our nicotine around here. Dan the man, with a $10 super chat. That's a shot.
Legend.
Do you think John should be fired? He won't beef up our O-line. Can't blame Carroll. Nothing has changed. Oh, firing John. I lean towards no, just because I need to see more out of what this Mike Macdonald finished product is going to be. I have some doubts about John. I think we all have some doubts. He has made some mistakes, but he's drafted well recently. But I'm not to the point of firing him. I think it's a fair question. That'd be good for the mailbag, this one too, by the way. But I'm not to the point where I'm firing John Schneider yet. I'm open to that conversation, but I'm not there on firing him there at this point in time. Dan, I'll take a shot for you. I think that's a fair answer. I wouldn't fire him. I want to see more of what Mike Macdonald does with this team before I consider firing John Schneider. But it's not out of the question down the line. Yes? Oh. Cheers to Dan the man. New trade coming in. Tre'Davious White to the Baltimore Ravens. Okay. So the Rams trading Tre'Davious White to the Ravens. He was a guy I was looking at potentially going to Kansas City. Instead, the Ravens get him. And, yeah, that's fine. MF Gary, here's where you're a little bit wrong on this idea. Gabe had knee issues in college. The Seahawks were very well aware of his knee issues in college, and yet they still drafted him anyway. And that's a knee issue that has not gone away. So to say that it's not John's fault, that's not entirely true, because they knew that in the scouting report. That's why he slipped to the third round, because of his knee issues in college. So that's not completely true on that front. Tre'Davious White to the Ravens, out of the division. Get out of here. Making the Rams worse. That's fine with me. What is your one-word reaction to the Rams moving on from Tre'Davious White and going to the Ravens? I think the AFC is fascinating. Chiefs obviously are good. The Ravens are right there. The Texans are good. The Steelers are good. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. In the AFC, I think it's probably those four teams, and then there's a significant gap. It's probably everybody else after that. Really, in the AFC, I feel like it's the Chiefs up here. Then it's the Ravens, Steelers, and Texans here, and then everybody else after that. Am I missing somebody? Is there a team I'm not thinking of in the AFC? I like this move for the Ravens. They didn't give up much. They get help at the corner room, only give up a 7th-round pick. I think that's a very good move for the Baltimore Ravens. What's your one-word reaction? My one word for the move here for the Ravens is satisfying. I think the Ravens, Eric DeCosta has done a very good job with that Ravens team. Oh, Rich mentioned the Bills. I forgot the Bills. Yes, the Bills would be in that category too. Thank you for reminding me. Almost forgot the Bills. Yes, the Bills would belong with that group too. But yeah, I think that this is a good move for the Ravens. It doesn't cost them a whole lot. Get some help on that defense. Adds that secondary. They got some good players there already with Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins and others. I think that's solid for Baltimore. Little RG with another super chat says, what do the Seahawks have to do as a team to win the West and maybe compete for a Super Bowl? Well, there's a few things. The offensive line needs to improve. Geno's got to stop making mistakes. They got to run the football better. And then I'd like to see more out of the secondary, and the pass rush has got to improve too. So those are just a few things. But that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at that the Seahawks need to do those things, and they potentially could be in contention to do something in the division and then go from there. I mean, folks, it's all about just getting in first. And then you see if everything works itself out from there. Just get into the show. Just get into the party of the postseason. And then figure everything else out from there. So, little RG, yes, Tex. Yeah, let me do the DK song for little RG. Choppin', Mike Max choppin', Geno passes, no one stopping DK. Touchdowns all day. He rules. All right, less than 30 minutes to go till the trade deadline. If you want to interact with us, send us a super chat. First time super chatters get the Seahawks chant. $5 super chat will do the old McDonald's song. $10 super chat will take down some shots. $20 super chat will do a beer bong. Haven't done a beer bong yet. I got plenty of Miller on hand here. But I need your permission. I can't do a beer bong unless you guys send me a 20. $50, we get sauce with the Seahawks sauce. We get to 300, we will do a boot. A boot in the suit. Boot in the suit. Boot in the suit. Can we do a boot in the suit? We got to get to 300. We got ways to go. Certainly possible. But I would love to get there. Got to get to 300 to make that happen. Here on today's program. There is the super chat menu. Dan the Man says no playoffs this year. I say we're going 8-8. Well, Dan the Man, we play 17 games. So are the Seahawks going 8-9, or are they going 9-8, or are you saying they're going to go 8-1? MF Gary, yes, no Bud Light here. We're drinking Miller. We're drinking real American beer straight from Golden, Colorado. Miller Lite, baby. Cheers. Phobia says, when you lack discipline and fundamentals like the Seahawks, no trade player is going to fix that. Oh, there's a lot of truth in that. There's a lot of truth in that. Rich Oliver says the Seahawks are going 7-10. Dan the Man says 8-9. What else? Get your record predictions in. You guys send in record predictions. Let me know. Dan the Man loves some Miller. I would think Dan Miller would love Miller. It's only fitting that Dan the Man Miller would love Miller. I love me some Miller, too. It's so smooth. It's a fine Pilsner beer. I do love some Miller. Cheers. Yes. Just like this Miller rules. Exactly, Dan the Man. I would imagine you're a Miller guy. I'll tell you this, too, while we're on the topic of Miller. I would say, folks, as I see some more record predictions coming in, Gordon says 6-11. Metcalf Pross says 6-11. Brazos says 10-7. Phobia says 7-10. Yeah. True Power says 6-11. Outcast says 6-11. MF Gary says 7-10. Speaking of underrated beers, and Dan, you'll like this because you say your other beer is Coolers. I would argue the most underrated beer on the entire planet is Coolers Banquet beer. Coolers Banquet, you get it on draft. That is the most underrated beer. And it's usually very cheap, too. Whether it's in the grocery store or whether you're going to a bar or something, Coolers Banquet, without question, is the most underrated beer. And I think, personally, it tastes significantly better than Coolers Light. And for much that's made about Coolers Light and everything with Coolers Light, there's not a whole lot more There's not a whole lot more calories in Coolers Banquet than there is in Coolers Light. You might as well drink the Coolers Banquet and drink the better beer. Let's see. Darren says 10-7. Corey's saying no way. What are you saying no way about? You don't like Coors Banquet? How do you not like Coors Banquet? Everybody should like Coors Banquet. Everybody should drink Coors Banquet. If you're 21 or over, of course. I don't want to get sued. I don't want to get in trouble. Corey likes root beer. Root beer's fine. I loved a root beer growing up, and then I became an adult and started drinking real beer. Let's see. James likes Fat Tire. Fat Tire's a good beer, too. My dad likes Fat Tire. My dad may be watching. I don't know. But funny story. My parents, they didn't drink around me growing up. But then as I got older, then I started to see my dad drinking. And, like, he became a beer, like, I want to say snob, but aficionado of sorts. Like, every time I go home, I feel like my dad's got a new beer he's trying. And then there'll be other times, like, my dad is laid back, too. He'll be like, oh, yeah, I got some Rolling Rock in the store. And I'm like, Dad, I didn't even know Rolling Rock was still for sale. That Rolling Rock is still a thing. It's not bad, but it's like, my goodness, Dad, like, you might be the only man buying Rolling Rock out here. That's my father. Tex, what's I know you're not a big beer guy, but what is your beer of choice?
I would say I definitely like Guinness when it's on the tap, which is obviously difficult to have even like fresh Guinness here in the States. But I remember I went to Ireland in 2019 to visit because my family's originally from there. And so we stayed in like our hometown in Cork, where we immigrated from, like my great-grandparents did. And we went to the Guinness factory.
Okay.
And I had two of the, let me pop up real quick. So
Yeah. Tell story time with Tex about his time at the Guinness factory.
Yes. And we did the tour of the Guinness factory. Very cool. Turns out you only have to be 19 to drink in Ireland.
Isn't that beautiful?
And it's
The
convenient.
fact that the drinking age, you can go to war in this country at 18 years old, but you can't have a damn beer or a cigarette till you're 21. That's ridiculous.
It's actually insane.
Lower the drinking age, lower the smoking age to 18. That is my only political statement of the day.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's hard because Europe has a different drinking culture, and so it's like for them, like they get used to drinking as a family with beer and wine like early in their like young teenage years. Anyways, so I go to the factory and we take the tour. It's really cool. It's freaking sweet, actually. It's just massive factory, massive. And at the very top, they have like this open, view or whatever, if you will, and it's got.
I think you're frozen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, am I frozen?
I think you are. I can hear you, but it looks like you're frozen.
Let me fix that real quick. That's brutal. Go
ahead, keep telling your story while you work on it.
Yeah, so I'm basically at the top, and there's just. Oh, that's really strange. Again, I can't figure out mine. That's okay. I'll just say it over the mic.
Okay.
And so once we got done with the factory tour, we all lined up in the middle. There's just windows everywhere, so you can see all around Ireland, downtown Ireland, which is really cool, like Dublin area.
Yeah.
And they fill up the tap with a fresh pour from the Guinness factory. They have a line that goes all the way up, like 21 stories, and it goes straight into the bar serving area in the center of this like sky view, like sky window at the top. And it's a multi-stage pour, so they pour the first one, and then they let the foam, dissipate and set a little bit, get a little room, let the head settle, and then they pour a second one, fill it up a little bit more, let the head settle, and then they go for a third pour to top it off and let it fill off the edges a little bit, and then they scrape it off with like a little like custom, Guinness engraved knife, and then they tap it on the glass and slide it over to you. I had 2 of those pints and I was gone.
So I've only had Guinness twice.
It's delicious.
One time I had it just a straight, thing by itself.
Yep.
Too heavy for me. I wasn't a fan.
You're not a dark beer guy?
Not a dark beer guy.
I usually am not either.
The second time I had Guinness was, it was around St. Patrick's Day. What's the Irish milkshake with Guinness? What's that called, folks? Chat knows this answer.
Good question.
Somebody in the chat knows this. What is the, what do they call the St. Patrick's Day, like, milkshake or whatever that's got Guinness in it? It's not really a milkshake, though. It's, like, chocolate flavored. I think it's got, like, Bailey's or something. Somebody in the chat's got to know this answer. But that I really enjoyed. That was very good. But those have been my 2 experiences with Guinness. Maybe I need to Now I'm older. Somebody was asking how old I am. Irish car bomb. James knows. That's it. An
There
Irish
you
car
go.
bomb. I did
couldn't
love
think
me
of
an
it.
Irish car bomb. But now that I'm 28 years old, somebody was asking my age earlier. I'm a little more. I have more mature palate now. Maybe I can go back and try another Guinness.
My apologies. My camera keeps glitching no matter what I do, no matter how much I move. If I move too much, it glitches. I'm gonna take it off. I'm gonna unplug mine real quick. 'Cause
Okay.
It's kind of getting annoying, so bear with me, guys.
Tex is still here.
I'm here.
He's still here. He's just
Dealing
having a
with
little
some
technical difficulties. 19 minutes away from the trade deadline. We're getting down to the 11th hour. Will the Seahawks make a trade or not? It's our poll question right now. Over 500 votes so far have come in. 51% of you say yes. 49% say no. Will they make a trade? We're getting down to the 11th hour. Closing time. Great song, by the way. Closing time. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. Take me home. Great song. Who sings Closing Time? Folks, I don't know off the top of my head who sings Closing Time. I feel like I should know. I feel like I should know. Somebody in the chat's going to know. Who sings Closing Time? Semisonic? That sounds about right. Creed says El Presidente Marge. Let's go back to Super Chip menu. 17 minutes and about 45 seconds remaining. Phobia is asking, what about the Kirkland signature beer from Costco? I haven't tried it. I will say, though, as Dan the Man sends in a Super Chat, we'll go to Dan here in just a moment. Little pointer out there for the folks. If you're going to Costco, if you buy the Costco brand vodka, it is the exact same as Grey Goose. And the rumor is that it is Grey Goose. They just put a different label on it and sell it for cheaper. So if you got a Costco membership, don't waste your time buying Grey Goose. Buy the Kirkland signature version of their vodka, and it's the same exact thing. That is a proven fact. You can look this up. Everybody knows this. If you're going to buy, they've admitted this. Don't waste your time buying Grey Goose. Just buy the Kirkland signature, and it tastes the exact same thing. And Phobia says, wow, Grey Goose is bomb. Grey Goose is good, but you don't need to waste your time buying it. Get the Kirkland version, and you'll save a ton of money. Dan the Man Miller with $1 Super Chat. Thank you, Dan the Man. Appreciate that. Good to see you here, Dan. Thanks for hanging out here with us. That puts us at $75 now. Still time. 16 minutes to get to a boot, potentially speaking, before this trade deadline runs out. When we do reach the official trade deadline, we'll do a quick mailbag segment, and then we'll sign off and call it a day. Yes, Tex needs some questions. Folks, here's what I need for the mailbag. I'm going to be honest with you. We are about 15 minutes away from the trade deadline. It is highly unlikely the Seahawks make the trade at this point. So, with that in mind, don't send me trade ideas for your mailbag questions because the trade deadline's going to pass and no trades are going to be done. Ask me questions about where they go from here. We can talk about the rest of the season. We can talk free agents. We can look ahead to the draft. Make life easier on me. If you ask me trade questions after the trade deadline, that's going to be pointless. Maybe you can go kind of Monday morning quarterback style and ask me who they should have traded for or what they made a mistake doing. But make my life and your life easier on those mailbag questions. Let's not talk about trades they should make when the trade deadline passes, because this segment is going to be after the trade deadline ends. So, yes. Board Skyler verifies what I was saying about the Kirkland version of Grey Goose. It is true, it's bomb, but it's made in the same town in France, but different factory. The Kirkland version is excellent. All Kirkland booze is great. $20 for 24 Kirkland White Claws. I haven't tried the Kirkland White Claws. I might need to make that happen. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag that we will be doing once the trade deadline concludes in about 14 minutes from right now. Get your questions in, as we will have our full analysis on the trade deadline of what just went down or what didn't go down for the Seattle Seahawks. We'll share our final thoughts coming up in just a bit. Ford Schuyler says, sidebar, Costco originated from Washington. I didn't know this. I know Fred Meyer's in Oregon. Fred Meyer's based in Portland. I'm a big Fred Meyer guy. Fred Meyer might be the best grocery chain in America. I love me some Fred Meyer. Do I have some people in the chat to back me up? Isn't Fred Meyer fantastic? I didn't know Costco started in Seattle. That's news to me. I like Costco. You get that $1.50 hot dog and drink. I mean, I said I wasn't going to make any political statements today, but if we ever get to a point as a country where Costco's charging more than $1.50 for hot dogs and soda, then we're in trouble. We're not at that point, but if we ever get to that point, we're going to be in trouble as a country if that happens. Let's see. Phobia shouting out Publix. MF Gary says Fred Meyer has the best organic section. You may look at me, and you can probably tell I'm not much of an organic guy. I love meat and potatoes, if that wasn't obvious. But good for you. Connor says Fred Meyer is a W. Phobia says Publix is nice but expensive. I like Publix in Florida. I love the Publix fried chicken. That is the best grocery store fried chicken in America, is Publix. Let's see. What else we got here? Steve J loves Freddy's and Costco. Is that the nickname for Fred Meyer's? Do people call it Freddy's? I didn't know this. I always know when I think Freddy's, I think of the fast food joint. MF, no, I'm not eating organic red meat. No, give me the real stuff. I don't need the organic stuff. Jay or Salmon. Goodness. Put that in the mailbag. Use hashtag Seahawks. That's a good mailbag question. Put it in the mailbag. Hashtag Seahawks. Shane says, I work for PCC. We're doing mostly organic. Who's PCC? Who's PCC? Give me some context. Who is PCC? I don't know what that is. Let's see. AKAS says, yep, Fred Meyer is my number one.
Well, the thing about organic food, I think, is it's just too expensive. That's the problem. It's like, it's good, it's just too expensive, so the ones with antibiotics are just more worth my bang for buck, you know?
Oh, yeah, give me the antibiotics.
I think I've looked at the studies, too. It's like overblown how much better organic food is for you, from meats to vegetables, everything. It really is. Oh, there you go. Good job, Phobia. Phobia got a question in.
Phobia's got a question in. Need some more questions for that mailbag. Hashtag Seahawks. Get on the mailbag. Yeah, organic stuff just so pricey. Like, well, and you think about it, too. Everybody's wanting to take, like, antibiotics to overcome sickness and whatnot. I'd rather just eat red meat that's got the antibiotics in it, and then I'm covered, and I don't have to take the meds that way.
Well, those are two different kinds of antibiotics, my boy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, completely different. Yeah, the reason why we live longer, a direct reason, is because the invention of antibiotics, actually.
Oh,
yeah, like
those.
Babies and stuff don't die as fast because of antibiotics and sicknesses. No, it's actually a different antibiotic.
Oh, well, that
was funny.
That shows how smart I am there. I thought it was the same thing. I thought I was getting healthier by eating red meat with antibiotics.
No, the organic's healthier. It's just way too expensive. That was what I was trying to make.
How stupid did I just sound?
Not that. I mean, to be fair, like, I was a personal trainer, so I've dived into, like, meat quality and antibiotics more than your average person here, so not really. I just wanted to let you know.
You wanted to clarify for the record.
For the record, just wanted to let you know, bro.
Before we put out the
meat information and
yeah. But before we got this train too far off the rails, correct the record. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll go back to antibiotic medication then. Red meat's not going to help me there, I guess. Let's see. JD's got a question. I'm seeing some good questions coming in. Hashtag Seahawks to get your questions in. Lon says, when I was working in Saudi Arabia, there was an organic apple for $20 for one apple, but all the regular food is cheap because the gas is like 15 cents a gallon when I was there. $20 for an apple? That better have been the best apple of your life. Russell's shouting out H-E-B. I love H-E-B. There's not any, where I live in Dallas, the closest H-E-B is like 30 minutes from me. I still occasionally make the drive out to H-E-B because it's so good. All right. We got about 8 minutes left before the trade deadline. I'll make a deal because I'm a man of deals. In the final 8 minutes, every $5 super chat that comes in, I will take a shot. And the next $10 super chat that comes in, I'll do a beer bong. But it's got to be within this next 8 minutes before the trade deadline hits. So that is the offer I will make. 8 minutes till the trade deadline. Clock is ticking. If you guys send in a $5 super chat, I'll take a shot. The first 10 that comes in, I'll do a beer bong. We're at $75 right now. And if we get to 300, we'll do a boot. Still got time. We still got a ways to go to potentially get to a boot before we wrap this up. And remember, we got our mailbag coming up in just a bit. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. Yeah, we'll go to the Super Chat menu. Man, all right, there's a 5 from Little RG. That's a shot. There's our first shot. Every $5 super chat till the end, we're taking shots. This one's for Little RG16. Seattle, finish it, y'all. With trades over, we should look at free agents. Yeah? We should look at free agents. We need all the help we can get. Cheers to you, Little RG. We'll include that in the mailbag. Shane, with a $5 super chat, also writing in, says cheers. Cheers indeed. Cheers indeed. To you, Shane. Raise your glass. Everybody raise your glass. Cheers. Go Hawks. There we go. Drinking that good Tito's vodka. Not the Kirkland stuff. Not the Kirkland stuff. Although the Kirkland stuff would be pretty good. We're drinking the real thing. We're drinking the real Tito's here. Shane, thanks for that $5 super chat. Fighter Life says, yo, can I get a shout out? Shout out. There you go. 6 minutes to go till the trade deadline. How we feeling, 12s? How we feeling? Are we going to get a deal? Let's make a deal. You ever seen that show with Wayne Brady? Let's make a deal. Wayne Brady, great guy. I loved him on Whose Line Is It Anyway? With Drew Carey. They should bring that show back. I usually hate the idea of bringing canceled shows back, but I would love the idea of bringing Whose Line Is It Anyway back. I feel like I could thrive on that show. I'm very quick on my feet. I think I could do well at that show. Let's see what else we got. 5 minutes to go. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. MF Gary says, does Wayne Brady need to shoot a what? I don't know what you mean by that. Am I missing some context here? MF Gary? Whatever happened to Wayne Brady? Is he just doing that? Whose line is it anyway? Is that all he's doing? 5 minutes ago. Super chat menu. Every $5 super chat till the trade deadline comes in, it's a shot. I'll do a beer bong for $10 if we get a $10 super chat before the end of the trade deadline. $50 do the Seahawks sauce. $5 shots. First time super chats will do the Seahawks chant. Let's see. There is still time. There's still time to make a deal. We're down to the final minutes. And our poll question, you guys are up to 51% of you think the Seahawks will not make a trade now. 49% say yes. So we shall see. We're coming down to the end before the trade deadline. Texter, it's a busy night for some folks. Any plans tonight, Tex? I'm going to be watching TV tonight.
Yeah, definitely going to have my eyes glued on the TV. Couple things to watch, obviously.
Lot to watch,
post coverage of the NFL trade deadline.
Right. College football playoff
rankings, yeah, definitely. Those are the two that come to mind. Definitely the ones I'll keep my eyes on. I'll browse the other channels, see what else, kind of their news and kind of events are going on out there. There might be something.
There might be some news going on.
There might be some news. There might be some kind of event going on. I don't know. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. We'll keep it very generic.
I feel like tonight, though, like I started drinking.
Yep.
On the show here.
Yep.
I feel like I'm going to be drinking more throughout the rest of the night. It seems like one of those type of evenings. I fully plan to come to work hungover tomorrow. That is, I have every intention to come to work hungover tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin with a 5. That's another shot.
Good stuff.
And this is good for the mailbag, too.
Yeah,
We'll go to Kevin here as we got about 3 minutes to go till the deadline.
Give me 1 sec.
I will say, Tex, that Velo, it wore out quick on me. Oh, I got some. Yeah. Oh, Board Skyler with a 10. That's going to be a beer bong. We'll do that here in a moment. Kevin with a 5. I said the next 10 that came in, I'd do a beer bong. We'll do a beer bong for Skyler here in just a moment. Kevin writes in, okay, I'll bite Draymond Jones and Trey Brown, 1st and 3rd for Micah Parsons in a 5th. I think the Cowboys want 2 firsts for Micah. As ridiculous as that may sound, I think that they want 2 firsts for Micah. I don't know. I don't think they're even looking for players. I think they just want 2 firsts. Not a bad idea. I'd love to have Micah Parsons, but he's not going to be cheap either. Why isn't Scott Huff under more scrutiny for the offensive line? That's a great point. Scott Huff isn't doing a great job. It's been a struggle bus. It has been a bit of a struggle bus for Scott Huff. I think you're onto something there. Love the show. Kevin, love you too. I'll take a shot for you, Kevin. Let's go, Kevin. Cheers. Woo. And then Board Skyler buys the beer bong. You're not going to find a cheaper beer bong than $10 on any Chat Sports show. And Board Skyler had to take advantage of it. I'll pour it up. Here we go. Thank you for the content. Much appreciated, as always. Geno haters are wild, but I love all the 12s. Let's keep it loud and lumen, people. I agree. Speaking of which, I haven't really talked about this much, but my goodness, folks. Lumen Field, why the hell have we lost our home field advantage? That Bills game a couple weeks ago, there was almost as many Bills fans as Seahawks fans there. That's embarrassing. That should never happen. We need to take back our home field advantage. Stop selling your tickets. If you can go to the game, go to the game. That's my rant for the day. Board Skyler, cheers to you. Woo! Woo! All right, 30 seconds. Down to the wire. Down to the wire. Almost time. Clock is ticking. Will the Seahawks make a move? 20 seconds. 15. We'll count down from 10. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And there it is. The trade deadline is official. and the Seahawks did not make any moves. There it is, folks. Let's go to Roy's Super Chat, then we'll get to our mailbag. Roy. Yes. Yep. As long as it's not a trade idea. They can ask, like, should we have made a move or something like that. Right, yeah. Let's go to Roy. We went to Skyler. We'll get to Roy, then we'll get to Nathan, and then we'll do our mailbag. Roy says, and this came in right before the trade deadline. So I will take a shot. Ride the season out and draft a new quarterback. I think you're right about that, Roy. Ride it out, see what happens, and go draft a quarterback if you like a quarterback next year's draft. Cheers to you, Roy. Cool. Nathan, one more, then we'll do the mailbag. Breaking! Seahawks signed Tyler Jones to a 1-year, $100 million contract. I'll be honest. I'm not very fast. So I don't know how helpful I would be. But you could find a way. I'll find some type of role of sorts for $100 million. You wouldn't have to pull my leg to go play for $100 million. Nathan, final shot, and then we'll do our mailbag and go from there. Cheers to you, Nathan. Go Hawks. There we go. All right. Mailbag time, then we'll get out of here. Quick answer. Yeah, we'll just recap, kind of run through some of the trades. Yeah. All right, here we go. Mailbag time. Keep submitting those questions. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat. The trade deadline has passed. Let's react to it. And then we will wrap up and call it a day here on this trade deadline edition of the Seattle Seahawks today. Tyler Jones, Big Tex here with you. Mailbag time, and then we'll go from there. Here we go. Final segment. Mailbag time begins right now. You're watching Seattle Seahawks today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us as we react to the NFL trade deadline, where today your Seattle Seahawks did nothing. That's okay, though. The Seahawks did make some moves prior to the trade deadline, most notably bringing in Ernest Jones IV, the linebacker for the Tennessee Titans. And keep this in mind, too, folks, before you get too upset about the Seahawks not making any moves today on trade deadline day. The trade deadline did move back this year from where it was in previous years. So teams like the Seahawks and others, they didn't necessarily want to wait around for the trade deadline. When they saw a deal they wanted to make, they jumped on it, and we saw a much more active period for these trades than what we've typically seen in the past. Now the Seahawks on a bye week. Where does this team go from here? Coming off 2 straight losses, still in contention. Can they figure some things out? Let's hear what the 12s have to say as we react to trade deadline day. Before we go any further in today's show, folks, need you to subscribe to Seahawks Today. We just passed 59,000 subscribers on the channel, going to 60,000. That's our next goal. For the best Seahawks coverage you won't find anywhere else, you got to be subscribed to Seahawks Today. Join the family of 12s, and you'll be glad you did. Let's roll through some of these trades. Let's tell you about some of these notable moves that happened today. We began with the Detroit Lions getting some much-needed help after the injury to Aden Hutchinson. They bring in Zadarius Smith from the Cleveland Browns, giving up a 5th and 6th round pick, and they also pick up a 7th round pick. A very good move for the Detroit Lions to stay in contention in the NFC. Then you had the Bengals get some help at the running back position, bringing in my guy, Khalil Herbert, former Kansas Jayhawk and Virginia Tech Hokie. He's been a solid running back. That's a good fit for Cincinnati. The Cowboys, not known for making many deals, they got some receiver help. Jerry brings in Jonathan Mingo from the Carolina Panthers. They gave up a 4th round pick and got a 7th round pick in return. Arguably the biggest trade of the day, Marshawn Lattimore is headed to the Washington Commanders as the Saints received a 3rd, 4th, and 6th, and the Commanders receive a 5th round pick. The Commanders have been one of the most surprising teams in the NFL, And now they're taking a step closer to get even better for Dan Quinn's squad there in Washington. Meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Steelers got some receiver help. They've been on the receiver market for a long time, trying to weigh their options of who they could potentially bring in. We heard rumblings about DK, although Adam Schefter shot those down yesterday, and he didn't get traded, thank goodness. Obviously, they were in on Brandon Ayuk for a long time. They end up settling for Mike Williams, giving up a fifth-round pick to do so, getting some help for Russell Wilson in that squad there in Pittsburgh. And there were some other moves that happened. The Steelers also brought in Preston Smith from the Green Bay Packers, giving up a seventh-round pick. And then the last trade of the day, the Ravens, actually a couple more trades. The Ravens bring in Tre'Davious White, and they exchange seventh-round picks to make that happen. Good fit for the Ravens, and also get another player out of the NFC West. That's fine with me. And then the Niners made a last-minute trade at the 11th hour. They get some defensive tackle help. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, they always are good about making some of these moves and being aggressive. And they're about to get Christian McCaffrey back as well. Now you add in Davis. Not a bad move for the San Francisco 49ers there. So there's a look at all the trades today. Should the Seahawks have made a trade today, or did they make the right call not making another move? It's our pinned comment today. Weigh in, let us know what you think. Why for yes, in for no, if you think Seattle should have made a trade or not. Let's start with the player formerly known. Writes, did John Schneider make the right call not making a trade? You know, I would have liked to seen a trade. The Seahawks had some obvious team needs heading into trade deadline day when you talk about the offensive tackle spot, the corner position, the safety position, the offensive guard spot. But then when you started to look a little further, teams are hesitant to trade offensive linemen, specifically good offensive linemen. So there wasn't a ton of options there. And then you talk about giving up draft capital and the Seahawks not having a ton of cap space. The big move was getting Ernest Jones. And you did that a couple of weeks ago, and he's already been a natural fit. I can live with the Seahawks not making a trade considering what they did to bring in Ernest Jones. Had they not brought in Ernest Jones and not done anything at all, then I think we would be sitting here and be pretty upset, and rightfully so. But because you made that trade a couple of weeks ago, I think we can feel okay. Now you head into the bye week, and you're hoping to get Abraham Lucas back. George Fant should be closer to full strength. I think this team can turn things around potentially as they head towards the second half of the season. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time's got you covered. And what I love about Game Time, folks, is the tickets get cheaper the closer it gets to kickoff. You choose the event you want to go to, like a Seahawks game, for example. They got the prices listed. You choose your seat, see if you like that seat or not with the 3D visuals with their seat views. And then you're checking out with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. You might even stumble upon one of their great super deals, which is a deal you don't want to pass up on. And we got a great deal we're offering. We're giving you $20 off your first purchase when you use the promo code ChatSports at checkout. That's $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. Download Game Time today. Use promo code ChatSports for $20 off. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Game Time, proud partner of Seahawks Today. Sydney Sweeney in Seattle. Spokane's finest. Checking in. How confident are you in the Seahawks after the deadline? Well, let me put it to you this way, Sydney. By the way, what's up? I think that this Seahawks team is kind of in the middle right now. They're not done by any stretch of the imagination. You can't write them off, but they have a lot of work to do to get this team on track. You're at 4-5 at this point in time. You're in a division that is wide open right now with the Niners, the Cardinals, and the Rams all not playing very good. Just comes down to not beating yourselves. Try to get better on the offensive line. Try to fix some of the little things. Hope the pass rush comes more alive. I think Ernest Jones is going to be a huge impact to the second half of the season. I would look at extending him sooner than later as well. I think he's kind of this year's Leonard Williams for the Seahawks here. And the thing that I would say, the optimism I would have, is I am of the belief that this team has not played their best football yet. That these things take time. They'll learn a new defensive scheme. They'll learn a new offensive scheme with this new coaching staff. It's not going to be overnight. And with adding Ernest Jones, with getting healthier on the offensive line, their best football is still in front of them, I believe. So I think, although I'm not over the top, I'm hesitant, I'm cautiously optimistic about this Seahawks team going forward from here. Do you believe in the Seahawks playoff hopes right now? Type B for believe, D for don't. Weigh in the comments section. Let us know if you believe in the Seahawks' chances or not. All right, let's go through a few more questions here. Phobia writes in, do you think we should use our first draft pick on a quarterback or offensive lineman? Way too early to tell at this point. But I would say this. If the Seahawks have a quarterback that they like, that they fall in love with, John Schneider's had his quarterbacks the last few years that he liked more than others, and they're in position to get a guy that they fall in love with, then you get the quarterback. If not, then go get that offensive line help and go from there. Gigi Salmon writes in, do we start Sam Howell? Not yet. Not yet. I'm of the belief if you have two starting quarterbacks, you have no starting quarterback. There's still a lot of football to be played. I know Geno hasn't played great the last couple of weeks, but it's too early to make a change at this point in time. Geno's got to continue to play bad like he did last week and go from there. I wouldn't give up on Geno just yet, but the leash is as short as it's ever been, I think, at this point. Nate writes in, when do you think we'll see Mike's tone change from it's a team problem to holding specific players more accountable? I don't know if that will ever change, to be honest. I think that's kind of who Mike is. I think that's his personality is, hey, we win as a team, we lose as a team, we die as a team. And I would bet that behind the scenes, he's holding those guys more accountable individually. And as long as that message is getting across one way or another, whether it's publicly or individually behind the scenes, that's what matters, and we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Adam writes in with the last question. Do you think we'll see Abraham Lucas this year since he's practicing now? Yes, I do think we will see Abraham Lucas, and we could see him as early as against San Francisco off the bye week. I think that's certainly possible. Seahawks believe he's headed on the right track, and I think he could be a huge difference for this Seahawks team from there. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now to Seahawks Today, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. We will see you for our live show coming up tomorrow afternoon. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. There you have it. Trade deadline in the books. A lot of fun, folks. Thanks for being here today. Tex, I enjoyed it. I know that we didn't have anything happen, but we still made the most of it.
Made the most of it. Had some fun with the 12s today.
Folks, we'll sign off. See you tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific for our weekly live show. Don't miss out on that. I'll be here. Smitty will be here. We'll see you then. Have a great night, everybody. So long. Thanks for joining us.